All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty DeFaro, only seen here out of Tin Mirror Studios in Kings Park. And across the ocean is my partner, Jimmy Farrow. Jimmy, how are you, bud?
I'm on the same coast as you. I'm not across the ocean. What's wrong with you?
You got to make it sound like you're far away, bro.
I am far away, but I'm not across the ocean.
You're really not that far away. I was telling my wife I might come visit you.
Okay. Does Panama City Beach Police know that you're coming?
No, they don't know. I don't know.
All
But
right.
the one thing is we have a special guest, former NXT Superstar Damon Kemp, who, by the way, is wearing a Chicago White Sox hat. I don't know what that's all about. We're going to have to ask him
Hey,
about
good
that
for
shit.
him. Good for him. He's a real fan if that's the case.
You got to stay up. You got to stay
Yeah.
a loyal fan when they're good. You got to stay a loyal fan when they lose 22 straight, 21 straight. But it is
Did
what
they-
it is.
But wait a minute,
Are they still losing? Are they still losing? They
No,
haven't gotten a
They
win.
broke it. They
They
broke
did
it.
break it.
They broke it
Oh my
at 20
God.
at 21.
What
Congratulations.
is wrong with them?
And then they just fired the manager. Then they hired Grady
The manager.
Sizemore.
Did the general manager fire himself for putting together a squad that lost 22 in a row?
I don't know. I think they all need to walk out the door and fire everyone on team. That team's
Wow.
only AAA. Other than Luis Robert, the center fielder, that whole squad is like a AAA squad.
Wow.
Like maybe like a single A. I'm being nice, but they went downhill.
Ozzie Guillen,
Aren't you from
Oh, boy.
Minnesota though? I thought you were from
Yeah.
Minnesota.
So before Minnesota, I used to live in Portage, Indiana. So I was like 45 hour and a half. I'll say hour and a half outside of Chicago. So I was right below Lake Michigan in Indiana. So growing up, we were a Sox fan. And the reason why we were the Sox fans is because my mom, she lived on the north side and she hated the Cubs fans because she used to live right next to the stadium. And she said that they would always like trash the whole Wrigleyville and stuff like that. She'll wake up and go to school the next day, and the whole area is just trash. And so she just didn't like the Cubs fans just from that. And so then we grew up White Sox fans, and then we moved to Minnesota in 2013. Yeah, 2013, my sophomore year of high school. Right after I won the state tournament, we got up and left. We moved to Minnesota. We've been Minnesotans ever since then.
Now, do
you remember?
Wait, Jimmy, I always found that interesting, right? So, like, were the Chicago Cub fans like the dirtbag fans and the White Sox fans were like the upper echelon fans? Is that the way that was reviewed there?
Yeah, so the Cubs fans, they were just like the alcoholics, the drunks. So like they'll go,
Okay.
they'll go to the game when they're like 20 games under 500, sell it out. But they're just drinking and doing whatever. The White Sox fans are a lot more intelligent. So for those type of fans, they actually care about baseball. And obviously, if their team's playing like crap, nobody's showing up. So.
Wow!
Wow.
Feel the hatred, Jimmy. Feel the hatred for those Cubbies.
I would figure.
Was he a Cubs fan? Was he a Cubs fan?
No,
No.
but we're on baseball. We're Yankee fans, so
Yeah.
but we could feel the hatred off of you. Like you could feel the anger against those Cubs fans, man.
Yeah, I got a little hatred towards the Yankees payroll. They got so much money to pay from the.
Oh, well, you've seen how that translates to tons of championships over the last 20 years. That really translates. Yeah, I want to hunt down Brian Cashman and
you know what?
his ass.
He's got no room to talk, man, because here's the deal. We're Jet fans, Damon. So it's like we have been tortured our entire life. So, yeah, you know what? Look, money doesn't guarantee you shit, man. That's it. End of story.
It doesn't. I'm surprised that both fan bases aren't raging alcoholics in Chicago with those long droughts.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. I don't think the Blackhawks suck. The Bulls suck. The Cubs, they started out good, and then I think they're like 10 games below. And then the White Sox are like, they haven't won 30 games, and it's more than halfway through the season.
Do you remember the 2005 White Sox championship? Were you just a little kid at that point?
I was in third grade.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I was in third grade for that one. Yeah.
Brutal.
I remember it, though. Like back then, so we lived in Portage, Indiana, so like we always got the like Comcast Sportsnet. That's when all the White Sox would play 7-Eleven. And then so every Tuesday, or not every Tuesday, every day, damn near, I watched the White Sox. Like I knew the whole lineup. I knew the every fielder, every backup. I knew everyone all the way up until from like that '05 team all the way up until this year. To be honest, is the only year like I really haven't watched them. I've been watching the Twins. Well, like they're so bad to watch. 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when they were like real good, they won 100 games and stuff like that. But then they lost to the Astros. I knew every player, everyone. I knew how the I was a big baseball fan. And I played a little baseball growing up, so I even watched how they had the third baseman Joe Creedy for the Chicago White Sox. He always kind of threw like a sailor at third baseman, so I would always like watch him throw the ball and try to mimic him and stuff like that. But yeah, I was a big fan. Me and my dad, and my brother, we were real big White Sox fans.
Did you want to be a baseball player growing up?
Yeah, yeah. So like, here's the thing. So like, we grew up. Me and my brother, we grew up. So my older brother, he started wrestling, and so he started wrestling, and then like we always make the joke that we were born on the wrestling mat. So older brother was wrestling. I was born, and it was pretty much literally thrown on the wrestling mat. My dad would tell me stories where my dad was our coach when we were growing up. He would tell me stories where we would be newborns. He'll put us on the mat, and that he made sure if anyone stepped on us, rolled on us, or anything, everyone had to run sprints because we like to be on the wrestling mat. So on the wrestling mat, just growing up, and then we were me and my brother, we were great athletes. So I really enjoyed baseball. I had a cannon of an arm. Really enjoyed it, but wrestling was always our main thing growing up. Like I did a little bit of fall ball. So wrestling season was our main thing, and then the off season we would run like cross country, play soccer, a little bit of baseball. So we were big. We were pretty good at soccer too. But the one thing my mom never let us play was football, and it's crazy because my dad always played football all the way through high school. And so the thing was with my mom not allowing us to play football was she was always worried that we were going to get hurt, or my dad was always worried about me and my brother hurting other people, or like wanting to hurt other people so badly that we hurt ourselves.
Mm.
You know, because we were pretty aggressive little guys growing up, and still are. So it's just like he didn't want us to play. And then the other crazy thing was like even like growing up, we had like neighbors that were real good at wrestling, or good friends that were great at wrestling. They played football, and they would tear their ACLs. So that's another thing why my mom never let us play, because like wrestling was our main sport. It was kind of think about it, it was kind of our way out of the area we were at, because we were really great. We were great at wrestling, and there wasn't really much in that area we were living, because like it just wasn't. It was a nice neighborhood, but it was just like wasn't where you wanted to stay for the rest of your life. So we used wrestling as our way out to pay for college, you know, and just like pave the path that we had. So we never really got to play other sports, but like we were great at them, as you see with my brother with the Bills. He never put on a helmet before until he done that,
Right.
until this year. So it's just like I wish I would have had the opportunity to like actually get serious with baseball, because I think I could have done pretty good. It's funny because I went to the University of Minnesota also, and they held tryouts to make the baseball team. And I think they were looking for a pitcher, but I was like, and this was my senior year of college. I was like, all right, cool. It's off season for wrestling. I was like, let me just give it a try. Give it a try. Went out there. It was like my first time picking up a bat in a while, and I bounced one off the 400 center field fence, just picking up a bat and just going. And we did some like some fielding stuff like that and things like that. But it sucks that they didn't pick me. But I think if I would have had a little more time put in, I think I would have made the team. You know, but it's like a small little thing. I wish I would have gotten into a lot more when I was younger.
I got to go back a little bit though. So I heard you. So did your father make sure that you and your brother all you did was wrestle? He wouldn't allow you to do anything else?
No, he allowed us, but when it was wrestling season, it's wrestling season.
Right.
And like so it was like mainly in the off season, we were always playing sports that benefited wrestling. So like I mentioned, we would play soccer, great for your cardio.
Right.
We would run cross country, great for your cardio. We never really played baseball because I think the baseball season kind of overlapped with the wrestling season a little bit on the off season, because like I don't know if you guys are familiar with like amateur wrestling. If you actually like, you get a few guys here and there that are actually really insane athletes, but like if you really want to be like the top wrestler and like get ranked in the country and stuff like that, you need to go to the off season, like the national tournaments. So there's really no time to really take a break. You win the high school state championship, and like 3 weeks later, you're wrestling at nationals. 2 months down the road, you got I'm not sure you guys familiar with freestyle or Greco-Roman.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so we have that national tournament that me and Gable both won, but it was one of those things where you got to continue wrestling, so there's really no time off. So my dad, he allowed us to play other sports, but it was always a sport that like kind of like benefited like our cardio and wrestling, which was like awesome because we never got tired. Like we people hated wrestling us because we never got tired, and we just beat on them until we win. So that was always a great benefit.
So, Jimmy, that's what I've always said, right? If you didn't like, McEnroe, stuff like that, if you saw a talent in someone and then just let them, and they could only play that sport, and like you said, Damon, that your father would let you get cardio another way, you can make champions like you and your brother. How was, it's funny. I don't know how rich your knowledge is in the professional wrestling, right? Obviously, you're a real wrestler and real badass, and let's call that straight. But I was thinking as you were speaking, like the Von Erichs, where the father would like pick favorites or push the two against each other. Were you and your brother like that, or was your father like that? Pitted you two against each other?
No, so I'm familiar with the Von Erichs just from like the movie and stuff like that. Like watching the movie, it was kind of like how the dad would like pick them, like who like a tier system almost. I thought that was a little crazy because like we never did that. My dad never made one feel the good or like whatever. So like he would push us to like be the best we can. So like his thing was because we wrestled at a real high level. Like he never really, my mom too, like they never really cared about us winning or losing. They more so cared about the effort and like the what we put into the training going forward to that opportunity. So it was never like you lose a match and like go home and get spanked, or hey, your brother's better than you now, you're dropped down to the second tier system, you can't eat at the table. So it was never like that.
Go
So
eat at the child's table, David.
yeah.
Now.
So it was never like that. His main, like I said, their main thing was like, because like when like me and Gable cared about myself, we cared about winning a lot. So like before we would go out and wrestle, my dad would be like, you win or lose, you make sure you shake the guy's hand, because when we lost, it was like literally all hell would break loose. Like we were younger too. We would like slam our headgears, throw our mouthpiece, don't touch me, don't do this. I'm going to a back hallway to, cry and be upset, like little kid stuff. But yeah, then he never really pushed, like he would push us in practice, but there was never the tier system. Hey, if you don't win this match, we're not getting ice cream tonight, or something like that.
No.
But
well, you lucked out. It wasn't like the Von Erichsen. It wasn't like Todd Marinovich. If you're aware of Todd Marinovich's story with his father, oh boy.
no, what's that?
Well, he was really, really rough on his kid. Tom Marinovich was a top draft pick back in the day. I think he wound up playing with the Oakland Raiders, and his father was legendary for raising him basically from day one to be the perfect athlete, and totally messed up his mind. He was just ruthless, basically. I guess it would be like Vince McMahon, like training you to be a quarterback. You suck. Try harder.
No, I've got a few friends that have been drained out from a parent being too much on them. And it's kind of sad to see, because like you see, like when you grow up with them, they enjoy it, but it's always like how lenient my dad was with the training. Like we would train real hard, like real hard, real hard, to the point like people didn't want to like train with us. But it's also like allowing your kid to have fun, because like in amateur wrestling, cutting weight, like, whether you like it or not, it's part of the sport, But there's also a time where it's like, all right, if the kid's pretty new, or if your kid's in middle school, or even elementary school. I've known kids that were like cutting like 10, 15 pounds, off a 100-pound body, and then they're just like little skin and bones anyways, and it's just not fun. So like as they get older, they're like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore. I've been doing this since I was like elementary school, and I've been cutting 10 pounds. Like no 10-year-old should be cutting like 10 pounds. Just go out there and wrestle. That's how like my mom and my dad did it for me. It's like you he's like, hey, do you want to wrestle the older guys today or you want to wrestle guys your age? Which I didn't really have that much of a choice because my dad would always put me in the division above me. So I was always wrestling the high school kids or like the older middle school kids. So it's either you show up to wrestle or these older kids are gonna whoop on you. But it was always just giving your best effort, and I felt that really helped out in the long run too. Always wrestling better and older talent.
Sounds like you and your brother both had a great relationship with your parents, but let me ask you this. You're two elite athletes, right? You're competitive. How much shit did you guys give each other, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of shit. It was a lot of shit, a lot of punches thrown, a lot of doors broken, and growing, I'm 4.5 years older. So my thing was I would never punch him. So we would wrestle. I get a little rough with him. Maybe I slam him too hard or choke him a little bit too much, and he would start crying. And I knew it was always funny because when he would get upset like any little kid would. He would chase me around, and I would like run from him and like until I'm out of breath. And then I let him catch me, and then he pummels me, and I just let him because I was 4.5 years older, and then he was like I'll be in middle school. He was like in fourth grade or something. Like, I'm not gonna punch him, so I never punched him, and I'll just let him punch me. But so it got to a point where because like in our house we had a garage, we had a wrestling mat in our garage, so that's what we were like run a lot of our practices, and kids would come over and like practice and stuff like that. But if kids weren't there, me and Gable would go in the garage, and, like kick a soccer ball. It's like two brothers in the garage. And the only thing they're gonna kick more than a soccer ball. They're gonna kick each other. So eventually it came to like someone gets kicked too hard, or I punch him, or I hit him, I bump him a little too hard. Something happens, we run through the house screaming and hollering and stuff like that. Doors get broken and wrestling around and stuff like that. But yeah, we were pretty competitive. It was a pretty big age gap. Like so in high school, that's when he started to really grow into his body, so to speak, as he was. So in high school, I was 195 pounds, and he was 182 pounds. Like we wrestled back to back in high school, and then but he was weighing like 170 pounds or something. No, I was 182 pounds. He was 195 pounds, and he was weighing like 180 something.
Mm.
And up until I'd say his sophomore year of high school, because in Apple Valley, in Minnesota, you can wrestle in high school. You can do high school sports at in seventh and eighth grade, if you're good enough. So like we had a crazy, crazy good team. We were we were second ranked in the country. We should have been number one, but the team that was ranked number one, they didn't want to wrestle us. So we had some straight killers in our high school room. So Gabe would come in there and wrestle when he was in seventh grade and stuff like that. So he'd been other than him, like him and like a bunch of others, there was no other option but to get better because like we had other seventh graders coming too that were a little lighter. So it was like about sophomore years when he started to like fill into his body, like actually like oh yeah, we got something
Right.
real good going here. Because beforehand he didn't like to be told what to do. Being coaching wise, he'll like just do what he wants and he'll walk during the warm up or he'll any little kid stuff. He didn't want to be told what to do. So it was like around sophomore year because we would have the University of Minnesota coaches, um, like past wrestlers, I should say, like that wrestled for Minnesota. They would come to our room and we would wrestle them. And also in high school, University of Minnesota, it was only like 20 minutes up the street. So me and myself, um, Gable, and like another guy, Mark Hall, he wrestled at Penn State. We would get in the car, drive to the University of Minnesota, and we would practice with the college team. So like imagine that, you got the best high schoolers in the country going against at the time University of Minnesota. It was like 2013. That was the year they took second at the national tournament. So they had a bunch of killers in that room too. So it was a dog eat dog world in there if you didn't show up and weren't on your game. So like that was another great thing that really helped push us both, you know, especially myself, getting a taste of the next level where you want to be, being around those guys and
Right.
taking them taking second at the national tournament, that they're at the top of the level. So it's just like was one step closer. It was like getting the opportunity to work with those guys, while still being in high school, which I thought was pretty awesome.
How does the number? How does?
Go ahead,
I'm
Jim.
sorry, Mike. How does the number one team refuse to wrestle the number two team and get
Yeah.
away with that? What's
So
that?
Apple Valley. So we smash everyone in our state. We would wipe them out. I'm talking like the team score would be like 70 to like 3 in the state championship for the team state. So it was my sophomore junior year. We were second in the country. And so we smashed everyone, ran through everyone. And we had a big tournament where like nationally ranked teams would come to Minnesota, and they would wrestle and be a part of it. And this one team, I think it was Blair Academy. They're in Pennsylvania. They didn't come, and I think I remember we had like parents and like coaches reaching out to their staff to try to get them to like come over to like Minnesota to like what we wanted to do was kind of like market both high schools because like both high schools had so many high caliber wrestlers like that were going to go to the Division 1 level. So what we tried to do the first time was we tried to have the high school duel happen before the University of Minnesota wrestling, the college duel. But I guess they couldn't do that because I guess there was something with like the recruiting, like you can't like it was like some weird recruiting thing.
Okay.
And then so we offered to do it in like halfway in the middle of the state, and then they didn't want to do it, and it was kind of crappy because they ended up winning like being like the national team champs of the year, whatever bullcrap. And but we would have beat them for sure. Our heavier weights and myself, we were to clean house on them pretty quick. So yeah, but we never got to do it, so it sucks. But we won. We ran through all the in-state teams. So.
Well, we all know basically amateur wrestling. There's no pay after you're done with that career, right? So it's either you're going on to something like your brother is football, or went into professional wrestling like you did. So instantly you're part of probably the giant WWE machine, and you start off in NXT. And I want to remind fans out there who are watching this interview, Damon was not released. The contract was run out. He wasn't re-signed. Can you tell us what happened there, brother?
Yeah, so like to back up before we get into that, like coming out of school in 2020, it was COVID year. So I got a funny story for you guys. So it was COVID year, and so NXT wasn't hiring. The guy, my point of contact is Paul Heyman, great guy. He did everything for us, great dude. And so they weren't hiring at the time, so he was like my point of contact, always helping me out, helping my brother out, just whatever. I owe him everything for the opportunity. And so 2020, I graduated, and NXT they weren't hiring because COVID shut the place down. And I think that's when they were doing like a lot of releases or something like that. So I was like, all right, I got a criminal justice degree. I wanted to do Secret Service but in order to do Secret Service, I needed to have 2 full years of like an actual job. Like going through a college, you can really have a job because you're locked in on your schooling and wrestling. And so I went on to work in a prison. So I was working in the what's it called? What was the prison I was working? It was a level Stillwater prison. It's a level 4 prison. I was working at there for 7 months, and as I was working there, like the NXT was starting to open up a lot more and starting to hire people and stuff like that. So it's funny, a funny story with Triple H. Me and my brother, we were on the Zoom call with him, and we were just talking about like the hiring process, and he was just talking about NXT and stuff like that, introducing himself more on a personal level. Great guy, owe him everything. And it was funny because I worked a double shift that day, and during that break is when he scheduled the Zoom call with me and my brother. And I was like, "Oh crap! This is my break, and I can only be here for so long." But I was like, "It's also Triple H. No, I'm not trying to. No, I got to pick one, Triple H, or hurry up and get back in there for my shift." And so I was so I was in the parking lot on my break in between shifts because, like, keep in mind, in the prison they need 5 guards in each cubicle, whatever the hell it was called, for them to like do rounds and like check on inmates and stuff like that. So they couldn't really start working until I was in there because it's like a safety thing, whatever. So I'm in the parking lot. I'm on the Zoom call with Triple H. So I'm pushing my time. I got like 15 minutes break. And of course, the Zoom call, right? Something goes wrong with the Zoom call, so it pushes my time. It's like 20 minutes late already. So I'm already 20 minutes late to go back inside. Now I'm like, screw it. I'm staying on this phone with Triple H. And so the Zoom call finally happens. We start talking and stuff like that. And I'm getting called on my radio. Like, Officer Stevenson, you need to report back to the unit. So I was sitting there, I turned it down a little bit, and I was like, all right, turn that down a little bit. So we're talking to Triple H. He's just talking about the business and is talking about everything he does and stuff like that. And I was like, oh yeah. Like, I'm really into Triple H. It's like freaking Triple H, and it's pretty cool. Like looking at him on my phone, And then I get another one, Officer Stevenson. You need to report back to your unit. I'm like, nope, screw that. I'm not going. And then it was funny because then all of a sudden they like blew up on me on my walkie-talkie I had. Officer Stevenson, we need to report back to the unit now. And I was like, damn it. And I told Triple H, I'm like, hey man, I'm so sorry. I gotta go. Like I'm kind of on the clock right now. I pushed my break back literally. I was only supposed to be out there for like 15 minutes, and I swear I was out there for like 40. And I definitely got a strike. Like I definitely got a strike from working in the prison. That was like strike one. And I was like, man, I'm not missing
Wait a
this
minute, you
call.
couldn't pull the Triple H call? Like, hey, boss, I was on the phone with Triple H. Come on.
No, it was like Triple H. I was like, it was funny because a lot of people that worked in the prison were fans and stuff like that. And then so like the thing was, um, I was like, I'm not going back inside, like because like it was the call that we've been waiting for to like actually get a conversation on because like I mentioned COVID, and it was like finally we got it, we got the call set up, and then I was like, crap, I got scheduled, and like it was during like towards the end of COVID, so like there weren't that many officers there because they were pretty short staffed anyways, and this was after like all the big stuff that happened in Minnesota, so no one wanted to do law enforcement, and I was like, yeah, this was like the call. I was like, I'm not missing this. Like, I'll get fired on the spot to stay on the phone with Triple H, but it worked out.
Yeah,
It
that's for
worked
sure.
out.
Did Triple H know that you're on the phone with him? He's talking to you about Braun Breaker or something. Meanwhile, they're sharpening shanks.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It was one of those things.
Hey, priorities, brother.
I'm
Priorities.
not
I
going
would have done
anywhere.
the same thing. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. So.
Did you tell the prisoners
let me-
like, hey, respect me because I'm gonna be in the WWE, so you better show some respect when you get out. I'll give you some ringside seats or something.
No. So like the thing with that is like, so it was a level 4 prison, so I was around some pretty heavy dudes. So you just had to have like I just didn't really open up my personal life to them, Just try to keep that real separate because you never know how they're gonna react to it and stuff like that. Just want to keep that side of life, keep a good like professional rapport with them and stuff like that. But as I got closer to it and stuff like this was around the time my brother he was like winning, I think he won nationals or something. And then it was crazy. I was walking down and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're a wrestler." I'm like, "How do you know that?"
Yeah, right.
Like, "Oh, we see a guy we see a guy on TV that looks just like you." I'm like, "Yeah, he looks just like me. We're not related." And we just kept it going, This was one of those things.
So let's get back to the original question, right? You've now quickly achieved in a very short time this. You're on NXT. They let the contract run out. What did happen here?
Bro, I was like, I was really shocked, to be honest. I was like really shocked. So get into it a little more. Leading up to that, we were doing great stuff. Me, the other two, my guy Miles Bourne, that's my dog right there. We were doing great stuff on TV. It was like we were getting an opportunity to finally show some like personality and just like being open up, being fun.
And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
Hi, it's Josh from Under the Table Hot Sauce. I'm here with my friend, the star of the show, Jimmy Farrow.
Yeah, what's up, JB?
Nah, nothing.
It's been a hot summer, and for all your barbecue needs, you can go to underthetablehotsauce.com. 13 unique flavors to choose from, created and bottled in a Long Island kitchen. Underthetablehotsauce.com. Let's go chow, JB.
Let's do it.
All the flavor, twice the burn.
Sir,
Ah.
Manscaped.
Uh-huh.
Have you tried the new equipment that's been sent?
I'm afraid because it says weed whacker. I'm scared.
Maven, Manscaped. What are you thinking about
Love it.
Manscaped, dude?
Love it.
What do you use it for?
Necessity. What don't I use it for? Put it this way. The only hair I have on my entire body is these eyebrows.
Yeah.
That you see. These caterpillars racing to the middle of my nose. That's it.
That is it.
That's all I have. And that's all I want.
That's the
So
big-
Manscaped is a
You-
must.
We were talking before the show. There's nothing worse than just hair.
Yeah.
Right? Hair on a woman, hair on a man. It's just bad.
Absolutely. And it's the one thing that the older I get, it starts growing more in unwanted areas.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Just going to go out there.
Oh, boy.
Go for it.
You're doing a deed.
Yes.
Again, I don't want you to have to admit this because we, as men, we try not to admit this. But if you're going to
Oh,
go
I
do
know
the deed
where-
on a
I
woman,
know where
would you
he's
rather
going.
have her be hairless or a little hair, racing stripe, or
Racing stripe.
full retro bush?
Racing stripe.
Retro Bush is out.
Yes, thank you.
Retro Bush is out.
Yeah.
I don't mind a small, well manicured landing strip. Every now and then, if it's completely, and I'm talking like baby's ass bald, then I start. Where is that pedophilia line? I don't want to
Wow.
wander into that.
That's
thought
very
of it like
interesting.
that.
I never thought about that. You're a
Wow.
smart dude. Holy shit.
So if the landing strip is clean enough for the plane to go in smoothly, you're cool with that?
If the landing strip has like I said, well manicured,
Yeah,
you can see both sides. It's not
Like blinking lights on both sides of that
I
landing?
just don't. I don't want. I don't want the shrubbery going off into unwanted areas on that as well.
Gotcha. Oh, look what you found. Ooh.
I got to be all honest though. Hey, the older I get though, I don't think I can be as
Have you ever gone down there and she slowly brings down the underwear? Then
What is
retro? Just,
Absolutely.
You're like, whoa.
Wow,
Yeah, I'm
like
46,
it
of
pops
course.
out?
Do you like walk out or what do you do?
No, I muster through. I muster up the courage to get
He's
through.
a trooper. Yeah. He's a trooper. Got to give him an A.
Oh, not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah,
There you go.
I hear you.
There you
Listen,
go.
I couldn't
Super
say.
Bush.
I couldn't say. Well, if you have the same beliefs as Maven, does Manscaped could help you?
Absolutely.
The weed whacker.
Absolutely.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I may have to, go in a room, close the door, and hang out with the weed whacker for a little while.
Man, I think you're a retro guy, aren't you?
I like 70s adult films, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
But
only
with that,
Ron
we're going to take a
Jeremy,
quick
Batman.
commercial break, and we'll be
Anyway.
back with this wrestling icon, Maven.
We will see you in a drop kick second.
Drop kick.
Being goofy because like when I first started at NXT, it was always kind of like serious, which like you can only be serious for so long. So it was just like, all right, I kind of want to open up a little more and be funny. I don't know if people don't know this, but it's like we show up and we were given a script, and that's what we got to make the most out of it. Like I think a lot of fans get confused, like, oh, why doesn't he do this, do that? And it's like we have producers and writers that tell us what to do. Like, here's your paper, read it. We're gonna go in 20 minutes. Like, please be ready. You just got to make the best out of it, and no one's gonna really tell you the right way to do it. Or they'll tell you the right way to do it, but right or wrong way to do it. So it's like, hey man, I want you to read these lines. Like, you read them, but they're not telling you how to read them. So it's just like you got to be over the top yourself and put your own self into those lines, and they would never really tell you that. So me and Miles, we always wanted to be over the top because we're both funny guys on the outside. And I'm like, hey man, let's start being funny. So we got all the funny stuff. So it was crazy. So leading up to that, it was a few weeks before. we had the departure with one of the group members, and just the stuff like that. It's a whole different topic. And then so we came into us three, and there was there were talks of adding another member because we asked someone that was highly influenced. So we were just talking. We're like, hey, are we adding a female? Or are we adding male to the group? It's like whatever you guys want. We just want to kind of be in the loop, just so we make the best of the opportunity that you guys give us with the person that we are given. And week before, like no, it was like 2 weeks before. So they added another guy, and he started joining us. Like he was like in little things here and there, but it was like kind of weird before that. Like we were doing rumbles, and we did that little battle royale where it made it look like it was like my fault for like eliminating Charlie. So it kind of made everything look like it was my fault why everyone was losing. Which like I was fine with. Like I have no ego when it comes to losing. I'm just fine. Like it's fun. You know, I really love WWE, so I didn't really give a crap about the wins or losses or looking stupid. But it kept like it was like I was being told something through wrestling that no one was telling me to my face, which I would have greatly appreciated if someone did do that. So so we did a match with the guy. The stipulation was whatever you beat Damon, you're in, whatever. And it was crazy. Like a week before, those guys that there was the other three members that the guy that they added. So they went to TNA and to do the pre-tape shows that week, like 2 weeks before. And I was left off of it. And like there was really no, hey Damon, you're being left off because of this and this and this. It was more so one of the guys came up to me. He was like, hey, did you get the text? And I was like, no, I didn't. And then they went over to TNA and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, this is getting a little weird. You know, this is like, all right, getting a little weird. And like, it's just like the timing of things too. Like my contract was coming up that following month. So I was like, all right, what are we doing? Like, what kind of are we thinking? What are we doing and stuff like that? And then, so I had a talk with the guy that was highly influenced. And I was like, hey man, what are we doing here? Like, am I still part of the group? You know, are we still working towards something that we talked about? And he just gave me a bunch of ideas. He was, oh yeah, 2-3 months down the road, you guys are gonna Heritage Cup's gonna come back to you guys. You guys are gonna be champions. Are you guys gonna defend it? We got this, we got that, we got this, we got that. And I was like, okay, cool. You mentioned 2 or 3 months down the road. He's like, you got great connection with the crowd. You're doing this. You're a great in-ring worker, great promos, all this stuff. And I was like, oh, cool, okay, cool. So it was like reassuring for me, like the week before. And then I knew that my contract was coming up. So I like briefly just like touched on. I was like, hey, I love WWE. I want to be here. I'd like to, be here as long as I can. It's a great job and it's real fun. And I was like, who do I talk to when it comes to my contract resigning? Like, is there anyone I can talk to about that? Because I like to be here, and it's coming up in a few weeks. And then they'll, oh yeah, talk to so and so about that. And it was tough because during that time, everyone was gone in Toronto for that pay-per-view. So I never got an opportunity to ask that person face to face, like, hey, my deal's up. Is there something that we can talk about? Like, I want to be here. Like, I'd love to be here. I want to be here. And so that Monday came, and I was looking to talk to that person, and they never came. Like, they never came into, I guess they landed Sunday, and then everyone had like Monday off and stuff like that. So I never got to talk to anyone. And so that Monday night, this was a week after I had that great talk with that highly influenced person. And so I was just sitting on my couch, and then I get a call from talent relations, and then I was like, oh, okay, cool. This might be the call that I'm getting my renewal over moving forward and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, Damon, like, we appreciate everything, but we decided that we are not going to renew you. And I was like taken back for a second. I was like trying to like process it, and I was like didn't we just? I just talked to. I didn't say it, but it was just like brain was just spinning, and I was like, I just had a great talk with so and so last week about all these great things, stuff and what was gonna happen and stuff like that. And I was like baffled in my brain, like I was almost like stunned a little bit, like I got hit with a stun gun. And then I was like, okay. And then there was, oh yeah, no need to show up to the TV or PC anymore. You got 30 days. And it's crazy because I was actually, uh, I was booked for TV that Tuesday, the next day, because I was booked and I was like completely caught off guard. So I was like, I have a notification to go into work tomorrow. And then you guys just tell me the day before that you're not resigning me. It's like completely caught off guard. And like I mentioned, the great conversation the week before. And I was like, whoa. So it was just kind of like, it was like, I was stunned. I was like, all right. I was like, so I was really taken back and really caught off guard, you know, but there was no regrets, no regrets being there. I loved it. I'd go back, it wasn't like I know a lot of people talking like going to the UFC. I didn't want to resign because I was going to the UFC or something like that. It's not true. Like it was just the business opportunity for the business for them. I'd go back. It was fun. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of great people, a lot of great athletes there. So it was fun. So no hard feelings. But it was a little bit. I was pretty stunned. So
Damon, do you think that the WWE not renewing your contract was possibly a result of the fallout of the release of your brother? I'm still confused about what happened with Gable also. I mean, when I first saw him, it looked like he was beelining for a really bright future, obviously, with the background and all. And then I never saw him. I mean, do you think there was any connection with when they let your brother go? I mean, did
I
you
hope
see
not.
any of the writing on the wall? Or?
I hope not, man. Because I hope not. Because it was like I mentioned, man. It was real fun, and it was great for me. So I just hope not. It wasn't one of those things. But
Right.
so that's all I really have to say on that one.
Let me ask you
Gotcha.
this: NXT was being run by Triple H at that time, and then I think he brought Shawn Michaels in.
Mhm.
Were you able to reach out to them and say, hey, what it like? I guess my question to you is like, what did I do wrong, or what could I have done better that would have, had me stay on board, or did they
Yeah,
not take your calls?
I didn't really reach out because I just thought it was one of those things where people come and go every year in the business. So I think it's like I just don't want to be that one guy. They probably get texts like that all the time, like, "Hey, sorry for this," like "Hey, thank you for that." I feel like everyone gets kind of numb to like people being let go. It's just like it's part of the job. It's real crappy. But this thing, like me sending the text, I don't know if it'd be like the actually even get like a reply. Not to
Well,
be like
well,
rude or anything. It's
clearly,
just like it's part of it.
clearly, you love the WWE, and let me tell you something. We've both of us have watched you, right? You've got the
Mm.
goods, right? So you go get some work in TNA, go to AEW. I don't know what your future plans are. We'll ask that at the end, right? But um, I guess my train of thought on this whole thing is, did you kind of feel railroaded a little bit? Like again, like in real life, you just said it. It's like you're told one thing and then it's really something else. And like, were you just lying to me just so I wouldn't bother you anymore? I'm not asking you
Yeah.
to give any bad answer. I'm just asking you, how did that feel as a human being? Did it hurt? Like, obviously it hurt, but like, what were you feeling inside? Anger, upset? What were your
Hell
feelings?
yeah, that hurt. Um, Especially because it was just like one of those things where I was always on TV. Like even when I first signed there, like I didn't have any pro wrestling experience before I signed, and like literally 2 months of being there, I was on 205 Live with zero background experience. That's how like I felt like I really caught on to like pro wrestling like pretty quickly, and I think the amateur background for that, and like the coaches at the PC for really getting us ready for those type of opportunities. But being, caught off guard and derailed, I was like, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I want to go.
So the
Um,
transition with the
Good.
transition was easy for you then, Damon, going from amateur to pro. Was it fairly easy for you?
yeah, I'd say about the hardest part was just learning what pro wrestling is, like what is being entertaining, like what is being entertaining, what is being a pro wrestler, and it's just like different backgrounds, like amateur. like we're always taught to be, don't show any emotion. You know, you're stone face killer. We don't show what we're feeling to our opponent, and then we flip the script to professional wrestling. That was the hard part of like opening up, of just being like, screw it, like putting myself out there. That was like the only hard thing. But I gotta thank Terry Taylor for actually like helping me. Like it was just like I don't know if you guys been around Terry. He's really over the top, really talking, real fun and stuff like that. So I was training in his class with the Raw and SmackDown people. Like that's how quickly I was like moving on, because I was training with those high caliber people. And he would always just be like, you got to be able to. It's not about the moves. It's about the emotion, what people feel, um, what people feel when they see you working. Like, are they going to remember all the? Nothing against anyone who does that. Are they going to remember all the flips and then the well, and next thing, or they're going to remember the human interaction? Like I'm having a fight with this guy, and I want the fans to feel that. It's just more so that's the interaction of two individuals that are like scripted to like fight and kill one another. And I got to thank him a lot for that, because after I was in his class for like almost like a year, I really was like, all right, cool. I can be goofy. I can be over the top. I can get my butt whooped on TV and like think of creative ways of getting my ass whooped on TV. But being a heel, like the audience wants to see the heel get his ass whooped. So I was like thinking of creative ways of thinking how I can get my ass whooped, how I can flip on this bum, get my face punched this way, or flip my hair this way, or stuff like that. And that was the hardest part. It was just like just letting that wall down, because I've been wrestling amateur wrestling my whole life. I never had to put that wall down. And it was always funny because my parents would always watch me wrestle, like whenever we were live on TV and stuff like that. They're like, I didn't know you had that in you. I didn't know you can be over the top. I didn't know you can be funny and you can do this. And I was like, whoa, I love the job, so I want to keep my job. So I don't really care about being over the top. And I actually kind of enjoy kind of being like a dumbass sometimes, but also being a killer when it's time to be. So
Let me ask you this. I don't know if this happened, but did you ever run across Vincent Kennedy McMahon? And if you did, was it like, holy shit, it's Vince McMahon? My God.
So I never got to shake his hand. I always wanted to like shake his hand and say hello. The only time I did see him in person was the Hall of Fame when it was in Texas. Oh, what WrestleMania that was? It was Brock versus Roman. So that's I don't know. So it was there. I was just backstage chilling, and I saw him walk by with all of his like cops and security and stuff like that. For me, it was kind of like seeing like a uniform.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's the guy right there. That's the boss that runs the ship right there. So I never really got to shake his hand, because I was also like, so WrestleMania, that I was only like 7 months in. Yeah, I was like still pretty new, so I didn't like like handshaking's big. So I wanted to go up there and shake his hand, like, hey, show my face to him. Hey, I'm Bobby Stevenson with NXT. Nice to meet you. Hopefully, I get to be under your Raw or SmackDown one day. Never got to do that, but when I did see him, it was like I said, it was like seeing the unicorn. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So did you work under Shawn Michaels? You mentioned Terry Taylor. Did you work under Shawn Michaels at all while you were in NXT?
No, so when it comes to coaches, I think there's like 7 or 8 coaches. So I'd say they kind of base it off the skill level. So like you got people that just come in, they go to a certain coach just to learn the basics and stuff like that. You graduate from that coach, you go to the next one, you graduate from the next one. So like Terry Taylor, he was the finishing class. And when I was in his class, it was myself and a few others, and there would like be guys on like Raw or SmackDown that would come in and train and stuff like that. So it'd be our class, and we had Fit Finley. He was the other like top class. So those 2 classes. So it was just like graduating through like going through the levels, and then like it was like Terry Taylor.
So are you telling us the Red Rooster's the highest level in NXT training? That's the guy.
Oh yeah, that's the finishing coach.
That's the guy, huh?
That's the coach. That's the finishing coach.
Love it. Love it.
But now they do it. They just do it like they do it random. They put people everywhere and stuff like that. Granted, they did a thing where it was like they put less experience with more experience. Granted, the people that had more experience were like guys like myself. I've only been there for like 2 years or so. So it gave us the opportunity to work with someone, like guide someone through a match. Like even though we were still pretty new, guiding someone that's never like taken a bump before, or that has never ran a match. It was like I thought that was pretty cool that we got to do that also.
Damon, were you thrown off when they came to you and said you're going to call yourself Damon Kemp? I mean, you're Stevenson. Was that like I'm who? I mean, honestly, Damon, that would have irritated me. I would have been like, "What are you talking about? I'm a Stevenson." Did you just scratch your head and be like, "Okay"? At least they didn't call you the Red Rooster. Got to look at it that way.
So I don't think a lot of people know, like on the outside, that we get to pitch a bunch of names to the creative team.
Okay.
So that's how we do it. So it's just like they're like, "Hey," and it's also like it's also one of those things where if you're like regressing, then they'll be like, "Hey, let's start picking out a name for you. You might be on TV soon, so let's start getting something going. Send us a list." So what I would do was I was literally looking up like badass names of like everyone.
Oh, you picked
Google.
one. You did a good job with that. Good job.
Yeah. So what I was doing was I was like typing in Google. I was like badass names of like the first name. I was like badass names of last names, and I'll just like grab them and like put them together, like making the spider web and throw them out. So I sent them to the creative team. They're like, I think the other option was Diego or Damon, and I was like, Damon.
Yeah. You Googled badass names. That's hilarious. Charles Manson. Oh, that one's taken. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the other guy that was named Damon Kemp, like around the time that I had it, he had like things going.
Whoops.
Well, that's what we were gonna say. You picked a guy that murdered 2 people in Georgia. Does Triple H go? I don't know if that's a good idea.
He might have been guarding that inmate when he was on the phone with Triple H, for all we know.
Dude, so when I picked that name and I was getting tagged and stuff on Twitter after I did like my first 205 live, they were like, Damon Kemp's a murderer, and I was seeing all these tweets and stuff like that. And I pulled it up, and there was a dude named Damon Kemp who murdered someone, and I was like, oh crap, this ain't good. It was like I would Google, I like just put my name in Google, and then literally it was all of the murder stuff. I was like, all right, this isn't good. I was like, this isn't good for business. And I went to one of the writers at the time. I was like, yo, there's another guy out there that killed 2 people that's named the same as me. He literally did it like last year, right? And then he was like, oh yeah, and I was like, yeah. Should we change my name or something? Like I'm still pretty new to being on TV. Is somewhere we can just change it quick? He's like, no, it's all right. It's like it wasn't that big of a deal. Whatever. I was like, what do you mean it was a big of a deal? The dude killed 2 people. You Google Damon Kemp, and all you see is that.
Oh, hell, man! It'll make a good doll. It'll be a great doll.
I was like, all right, I guess we're rolling with it. But jeez.
So going back, right? So right before your release, right? You're with the Creed brothers in NXT, so they get the call up. Are you thinking to yourself like, oh shit, I'm on my way up, man? I'm going up with the boys. What's going on here?
No, because we were doing 2 separate things at the time. So I was with them for like 7 months. 7 months we were doing a lot of great things. And it was like great things. It was constantly TV time and constantly doing great things and getting great exposure and stuff like that. So then they got called up. It was after the PLE I did with one of the brothers. So we were already separated. I turned heel. They still stayed face. So once they got called up, it wasn't like I was like left behind because like we were just 2 separate things. We were doing our own things. When they got called up, I was like, cool, great for them. My time will come. But it was just we were just separate at the time. So there was really no, hey, what about me? Left me.
Shoot question. I can't believe I'm using the word shoot, but I got to ask you. Shoot question. Can you take?
What a mark!
I am a mark. I'm so sorry.
There you go.
Can you take out the Creed brothers real life?
Hey, so I got a lot of respect for those guys, but I never admit if I can beat someone or if someone can beat me. All right, we'll leave it at that.
I'm gonna
But
go. I'm
you-
gonna go with my money's on you, brother. That's my money on
Nah.
you. Listen,
No.
we're coming to the end of the interview. First of all, I want to thank you for giving us this exclusive interview. It means the world to us. You're a good man. I've communicated with you, straight up gentleman, and there's no doubt in my mind we'll see you back in the WWE, and if not, we're going to see you in AEW. You will be a star. We're going to hit you with something with the Pharaoh's final question. My partner Jimmy will ask you something. I have no idea. It's not on the script. And by the way, I want to tell everybody, I never have ever, with the million great wrestlers that we've had on, I've never sent the script. This is the first man I actually sent the script to. Jimmy, he put pressure on me. He pressured me,
know.
Jimmy. He put pressure on me.
Hey, I needed to know, Jimmy. I needed to know what was up.
You got Mike to send you the script?
He did. He
Wow.
put
I
the
need to know.
pressure on, man.
Wow.
I need to
Wow.
That is the one. This will be the one and only time, Jimmy. Never again.
Mike, you broke kayfabe.
I
What
did.
the
I
heck?
broke it. All right, hit him with. And by the way, let me ask you, Jimmy, since our friend here wouldn't answer, who do you pick against him and the Creed brothers?
Ooh,
Real
you put
life.
me on the spot.
Yeah.
You got to go with the guest, otherwise you're just a rude prick. But I think that the guest could. I think the guest could more than handle himself with those two. That's for sure.
All
They
right.
are excellent, though. I'm very impressed
Yeah, they're
with the
great.
Creed brothers.
Great.
They are
They
great.
really are.
It would have been great to see the three of them come up. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I was a little
that was-
disappointed when I
I'm
when I
very
heard of
confused.
the that he was no longer with the organization. I was like, I don't get this at all. But again, things always seem to work out. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll tell you real quick, Damon. Here's a quick story, and then we're gonna get to Pharaoh's final question. Jimmy and I went to a small wrestling event, right? And here in New York before Jimmy went to Florida. And
Right.
on that card was Drew McIntyre. And I said to Jimmy,
Yes.
my God, this guy had his hands in his world. Now he's performing in front of
Firehouse.
a firehouse.
Firehouse.
And
Right.
look at
Right.
him now. So the reality
Yep.
of it is, man, this is just bumps in the road. Bumps in the
Mhm.
road. We will. And remember
Right.
this. We're good luck, Charm Damien. You've been on this show. I guarantee you'll be a star. And not that you weren't a star before, but now you'll be a shining star. All right, Jimmy, go
I
ahead.
appreciate it.
All right, Damon, are you obviously this has been quite the whirlwind emotionally and everything like that, but do you plan on rebooting and pursuing professional wrestling, more so once the contract is up, looking at other companies? Is there a future for you in professional wrestling still?
Yeah, I think so. No, I know so because I dedicated 3 years of my life to this. So I think it'd be pretty stupid just to throw all that talent away just to walk on to
Right.
something else. But
Right.
I would like to keep wrestling. I would like to sign somewhere else pretty soon. I'm hungry to work. I've got my eyes on a few companies. I'm excited. So I'm just really hoping whatever big opportunity comes. I've also got plans to go Hollywood. How do you say it? I got some good things
Okay.
rolling. I got some great things going in that direction. So you might see me on your TV screen, not taking bumps. Maybe just doing a little acting, a little something. So
All
that's,
right.
that's something to look forward to.
He's just got to get rid of that White Sox hat, man. And once that's
Yeah.
off, he'll be a star.
Oh, would you leave him
Yeah.
alone with the White Sox hat? There's nothing wrong with being a White
Yeah.
Sox fan.
Damon, quick message to the fans. What do you have to say to them?
I just want to say thank you, everyone, for supporting me. I gave you guys everything I had. The 3 years I was there, I have no regrets. I busted my ass to learn the business. I grew to love the business. I'm just thankful. Hopefully, I made an impact in some little kid's life. Hopefully, down the road, I get to run into that little kid and he gets to say, "Hey, Damon, remember you did this?" And it was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, I'm looking forward to something like that, and just like hopefully, just hopefully I impacted some kid out there that seen himself in me. That wants to be who Damon Kemp was. That would be the something I'd like to see.
You can't make up that answer, man. What an honor it is to have you on Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Thank you, sir, for being such a gentleman. Jimmy, you want to send us out?
You've been watching Monty and the Pharaoh with Damon Kemp, and until next time, later.
See you guys.